At LinkedIn, we know hiring is a big deal for your small business. Sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming. LinkedIn uses data that you can't find anywhere else to give you the best candidates, all so you can feel confident you're hiring the best person for the job. And even a little hiring bliss. See why 86% of small businesses who post a job on LinkedIn get a qualified candidate within a day. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/achieve. LinkedIn, your next great hire is here.
1, 2, 3, 4. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is Dark Macek with Brutally Delicious, coming as you the review of Bloodsong's brand new debut album, Season of the Dead. Okay, so we've got some horror punk here, and that's a genre where I know only like 2 or 3 bands. That is basically Danzig's discography and then Blitzkid. Still though, for a genre I know so little about, I do think it punches way above its weight in terms of how fucking cool it is. The original Misfits were so catchy, and the thing is, it wasn't relying on tropes. They were writing really great songs, and then the lyrics were just kind of fucked up. So this band did something really interesting. Having only 2 bands to compare to, I think it sounds more like the darker things that were written. That is, songs like Twist of Cain by Danzig, or like maybe Hollywood Babylon, instead of Teenagers from Mars. It's less traditionally anthemic. You know, one of my friends used to tell me that he thought the Ramones just sounded like a dumber Beach Boys, and there's kind of a link from that style, like Blitzkrieg Bop, to the songwriting, but not the lyrics of the original Misfits. This is like the Misfits minus that. AKA, still within that realm, but darker and heavier songwriting. I don't think anything in here was in a major key. So anyways, as I'll get to in a second, it's kind of like 2 EPs, which is you have 4 songs and then an additional 4 tracks that are those songs in a very different, haunting kind of mix. They called it the Dark Clouds version. But let's talk about those 4 tracks. Cold World. Immediately, we've got some very old school production. These vocals are not auto-tuned at all. I'm not even sure the band is on a click here. It just sounds so raw. I don't mean this in a bad way. It sounds like something that the best high school band you've ever heard would have written. Like, I'm now in my 30s and I have a really cushy job. I could never write stuff like this anymore, even if I were a talented songwriter. I kind of envy that the band can still put out this kind of angst. It's very fun and yet haunting material. And I can definitely tell that this would translate live amazingly. Track 2 is Season of the Dead. I think this is a good Halloween classic in the making. As I said previously, it's less anthemic than most of the Misfits standout tracks, but in a way I was still kind of reminded of Halloween, or maybe I wanted to listen to Halloween after. I could totally see putting this on a Halloween playlist in between the Misfits Halloween and like Feed My Frankenstein or something. Psycho Fuck. Here's another highlight. It really makes me want to explore this genre more. The track has some really good drumming, but not in a show-off kind of way, in terms of like hammering down the band's vibe. Different styles, but I'm reminded of like Tommy Lee of Motley Crue. No one ever said he was the best drummer ever, but damn if he's not hitting hard and really selling that this band means it. At the same time, it's not so simplistic that it's like Meg White either. It's just cool. Then we have I Want Your Blood. Here's another fun one, and here's where the drums are actually really good. That chorus or whatever section it is has the drummer going a little bit wild, but still in like a controlled chaos kind of way. You're still not at like Mike Portnoy levels of like, hey, look how good I am, let me suck my own dick. But it's really good from a technical level, and it works for the song. It's so hard to hit that, especially when the drums start standing out beyond beats or a quick fill. It's awesome. So those are your main 4 tracks, and then we have the Dark Clouds mixes. On Cold World, for instance, we get a more haunting synthesizer, and on most of the tracks, we don't really get much guitar at all. It almost sounds like something that could be the soundtrack to a haunted house attraction. I think it is important to relegate them as like Dark Clouds mix. Sometimes you'll see it on special releases. It'll be like song title, single version, because you don't want to pass that off like it's the original. I do think the original mixes are definitely the better way to discover the band because it's just easier to digest. But having seen them, these are interesting takes. Okay, so really interesting debut album or double EP. I don't even know what to call it. There's a real raw, unbridled rage or angst or something to this that I just envy so much. It's accessible enough that someone like me who's barely familiar with the genre really liked it and wants to explore more, while also not, as far as I can tell anyway, pandering. So, I guess in a word, fun. Thanks, dudes. Rock on.
I don't think it overstates things to say that the Beatles were the greatest gift to entertainment and culture of our time, a secular religion, if you will, with their universal appeal and demonstrable impact on people's lives. I'm Robert Rodriguez, host of Something About the Beatles. With every episode, I speak with historians, musicians, artists, and Beatle witnesses, all in the service of fresh insights into the most joyous cultural entity the world has ever known. I hope you'll join me and listen to Something About the Beatles, now on Evergreen and wherever you get your podcasts.